How has the process been of joining up with them again and blending in as in regards to the performance last year? Has there been any change in their musical performance?
You know, when I came this time, we began with Brahms' First Symphony, and really, like from the very first sounds, I thought, wow, the orchestra is even better than I had remembered them being. We did Mahler first last time, and this time we're doing Brahms first. And so I was pleasantly surprised, because that's not an easy thing to do for an orchestra when they have just a series of guest conductors, is to retain their discipline and their integrity and their musical excellence. But the Sinfonica really has done that. It's really a marvelous thing to think of.
Hey, and what do you think, especially speaking about that now, about the pieces that were chosen for this year? Is it challenging, or is it something that you're familiar with?
Well, you know, Brahms First and the Egmont Overture are two pieces that, of course, every orchestra really knows very, very well and has played, and Brahms is very dear to our hearts. But the Walton Concerto for viola, number one, we don't get the chance to hear violas as a soloist that often, so that's already a bit of something new, and also, and also, you know, William Walton, an English composer, has written a fantastic concerto. It's quite difficult, I must say, not only for the soloist, but for the orchestra, but we're really looking forward to tonight's program.
And what are your considerations, your opinions on the quality of the musicians?
Well, you know, these are terrifically professional musicians with the same musical spirit and passion that exists everywhere. There is such a joy of music making when I work with this orchestra. I have such a rewarding time. There's an incredible passion and energy level that comes off the stage, which I think everyone in the orchestra and the administration, and certainly here in San Jose and Costa Rica, should be very, very proud of. They're really, as an orchestra, the crown jewel of this country.
Great. And well, we've been mentioning how you recently celebrated your 23rd season with the Pacific Symphony, right?
Right.
What does that represent for your career, just being with them for such a long time?
Well, you know, I'm beginning my 23rd symphony. I'm beginning my 23rd year with the Pacific Symphony, and I'm very, very proud that this long chapter of my life has been spent really building an orchestra. The orchestra is only 35 years old, and I'm the only second music director in the history of the orchestra. So I'm very honored that I've been with the orchestra that long, and that we've had such a long and constructive and positive relationship, because that's a bit of an anomaly. It's not the norm in our business, but the community and the orchestra has embraced me, and my family and I have certainly embraced Orange County, California, which is a tremendous place to live, and musicians like here are just tremendous spirits to work with.
Okay. And finally, what experience or what taste did it leave you last time you performed with them, and what does it make you expect for this concert?
Well, when I left last time, my only thought was, I hope that I'm invited back to work with them again, and I was very, very pleased when Maestro Madrid invited me back to the orchestra to work with them again. It's certainly been a great pleasure, and it's something that I will always look forward to, is to continuing a relationship with the National Symphony of Costa Rica.
Great. I think we have it.
What do you consider is the main difference working with the Pacific Symphony and the Costa Rican Symphony?
The main difference.
Or challenge?
Well, you know, I think the challenge comes with repertoire. You know, Brahms' First Symphony, or Mahler's First Symphony, or Tchaikovsky's Fifth Symphony, or any of the pieces that we know and love as repertoire, they present everybody the same challenges because they're inherent in the work. It doesn't show that there is something missing in the orchestra. It just shows that internationally there is an inherent issue with this piece that requires extra work or that requires extra attention. So musicians all over the world are basically the same. They're people who are expressing themselves, giving up their talents, and are working hard to be an honorable spokesperson for a composer. So the problems aren't any different anywhere in the world. The challenges sometimes are different in that we live in a different environment. Our orchestra is funded differently. We have a different life cycle than this orchestra, which comes every day from 8:30 to 11:30, performs on Fridays and Sundays, you know, and so the orchestra's life cycle is a bit different. So it doesn't really mean that it's better or worse or has more and more challenges. I think the challenges in our musical world come from the repertoire and the composers more than it does from different lands or people from different countries. I don't find that at all.
Just one last question. How did you start as a musician? What was your inspiration?
I started when I was 6 years old with the piano. I grew up on a South Texas farm, and the town I lived in, well, it's not really a town, the place I lived in, we had about 35 to 36 people, 35 to 36 people. And we lived on a farm, and so for my 6th birthday, my mother promised me the very best gift that would ever come to my life. And I'm looking around for that gift. You know, as a 6-year-old boy, you want to see what it is, and it's got to be big. If it's going to be the greatest thing ever, it's got to be something big, right? And so I'm looking around for a horse or a bike or something, really big. And comes my birthday, and my mother said, "Carl, you're going to get piano lessons." Oh, that was a disappointment. Oh yes, of course, as a South Texas farm boy, to admit to anybody at school that you played the piano, your life as you formerly knew it would be over. So I hid the fact that I played piano until I was in the 4th grade, and sometimes had to pay ransom to my brothers who were blackmailing me that they would tell kids at school that I played the piano. Fortunately, I took piano lessons 17 miles in one direction and went to school 12 miles in a different direction. So there was quite a distance, separating my piano lessons from my school. But finally in the 4th grade, we were going to sing Christmas carols, holiday songs, and the teacher came to us in the class and says, "I'm sorry, we can't sing today because the lady who comes to play the piano is sick." And so I very shyly raised my hand and said, "Miss Sinji, I could do the piano." Everybody looked at me like, "What do you mean?" And so that was the day I came out into the musical world in my South Texas upbringing.
Nice story.
Thank you guys.
Thank you very much.